St. Lucie Public Schools is the home to exemplary educators whose passion and commitment to the students they serve knows no bounds. Each year, the St. Lucie Education Foundation, along with St. Lucie Public Schools, has the privilege of recognizing teachers selected to represent their individual schools as Teachers of the Year.
Throughout the history of the world, great teachers have inspired, comforted, persuaded, and motivated. All of us recall a certain teacher, a very special someone who inspired us to learn. In addition, all of us have sat in the classroom of many great teachers. Regardless of their fields of study, they were all visionaries who led by example and whose action transformed lives. Every day, we, along with 100 million parents, entrust our children with teachers. They instruct them, discipline them, guide them, coach them, and inspire them to fulfill their potential. They teach social skills as well as social studies, self-esteem as well as spelling, citizenship as well as science, tolerance as well as typing, and enthusiasm for learning as well as content mastery. They have to be counselors, mentors, friends, surrogate parents, and disciplinarians as well as masters of their subject matter. This program presents some extraordinary men and women whose timeless wisdom echoes the integrity, strength, character, and passion of educators all across our district and our nation. This program is a tribute to and for teachers and celebrate the special and often heroic role they play in their students' lives. This program is in our small way an opportunity to say thank you to those who educate, encourage, empower, and inspire the students of the world. And we're welcoming at this time the fantastic Teacher of the Year for Port St. Lucie High School, Mrs. Beal. Welcome to our show.
Thank you for having me.
Along with her is the dynamic principal, Ms. Bridget Hargadine. Ms. Hargadine, welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for having us.
This show is set up to celebrate as well as congratulate those persons that have been selected as the Teacher of the Year for their specific site. And just in case there are some viewers that don't know who you are, would you please take an opportunity and introduce yourself? Give us a little bit about your background, your field of study, the grade, as well as subjects that you teach at this time.
My name is Julie Beal. I am born and raised Texan, and I graduated from Sam Houston State University in 1993, and I majored in kinesiology. I also played 4 years Division I softball, played every single position.
Wow.
And from there, I taught 3 years at Troy High School, and then from there, I went on to coach softball at Lon Morris College in Jacksonville, Texas. Mm-hmm. And then from there, I went back to my hometown, Corsicana, and I taught at Rice Independent School District, ranged from kindergarten up to 9th grade. And I did PE for kindergarten through 2nd, which was probably some of the funnest years of my life.
I'm sure you had a great time.
And I also taught 8th grade health and 7th grade language arts. And then from there, I was there for, I believe, 13 or 14 years. And I decided it was time to make a change in my life. So I just dropped everything and moved to Florida. And Dr. Mark Rendell hired me at Port St. Lucie High School, and this is my 5th year there.
Well, welcome. We're glad to have you here in Port St. Lucie in St. Lucie Public Schools. So, after all of the experience that you have, the wide range of students that you have had the opportunity to teach, what's the most exciting or your favorite part of teaching?
I honestly have to say that building the relationships with my students, because building relationships with students enables them to perform at a higher level. It lets them know that I'm not just their teacher. I am a human. I understand where they come from. I share stories with them, personal stories, not too personal, but enough to help them to relax and feel like they, when they enter my room, they are definitely coming into a welcoming and safe environment.
The students that we're teaching today, Ms. Beal, born with technology in their hand, very savvy, very savvy. How do you purposefully plan the use of technology for instruction?
Well, before this year, I didn't do much at all, to be honest. But with the implementation of Access Now, yes, I have literally gone to maybe using a projector, 2 or 3 times a month, to incorporating technology every single day.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I have basically gone to a very low percentage to almost 100%, use of technology in my classroom. We use typing.com to hone on their typing skills. We use Quizlet.com. We use USA Test Prep to test them, and that is a good source to collect data. We use what is called, and when I say we, I'm speaking
Yes,
for the
ma'am.
reading department.
Yes, ma'am.
We use a site called Blend Space, where it's like a flow chart where you can create lessons basically on slides. It's not really like a PowerPoint, but you can put pictures in. I use a lot of pictures for bell ringers, motivational sets. I can upload videos to help them to relate to the topics or the content and real world.
Mm-hmm.
It helps them to relate. It has just encouraged more discussion throughout my students. And just the use of technology, I'm not just teaching them, they're also teaching me how to use technology as well.
Great. Ms. Hargadine, just in case there might be a viewer that does not know who the wonderful Bridget Hargadine is, kind of give us a little bit about your background too as a way of introduction.
Sure. Well, I started teaching back in 1989 in Washington State, and I was an English and social studies teacher. I've taught all grades 7 through 12. I ended up moving on to become a curriculum specialist, and I was a manager of secondary education in a school district north of Seattle, and eventually was the director of secondary education out there. And I had the opportunity to move to Florida and help open up Treasure Coast High School in 2007 in their first year. And that was an amazing, wonderful experience to help open up a brand new high school as an assistant principal there. And then eventually I moved on. I'm in my 4th year now at Port St. Lucie High School as the principal there.
Okay, Ms. Hargadine, Ms. Bill mentioned this Access Now as a use for technology that just has taken her from almost 0% to almost 100% using technology. Briefly explain to our viewers what Access Now is.
Access Now is a great project in the school district where we are able to provide every single student in our school access to a laptop with Wi-Fi 24/7. It is that student's laptop. That laptop also contains that student's schedule of books and programs that they might need to do their schoolwork. And we are so excited by this project. It has allowed us to help our students be prepared for the 21st century. It has allowed them to be competitive and have access equitably for every student to everything they need to learn.
Ms. Bill, have you always known that you wanted to be an educator? And if not, when did you make that discovery?
Well, that's a good question, because the person that inspired me the most was my Aunt Charlotte. And my cousin, her son, was 4 days older than me, so we were like best friends growing up. And I spent a lot of time with them. And most of the time was during the summer because they lived out of town. And as I was growing up and spending time with them, I noticed my Aunt Charlotte was always around. I mean, it didn't matter what time of the day. And I was thinking, does she not work? And, and then as I got older, in middle school, I realized that she was a teacher. And I started asking her about what she did, and she taught high school math. And she would just share some of the wonderful stories and experiences that she had, going through education and the relationships she had created with her students. And I just thought that she made some wonderful connections, and I thought that that would be something that I would have really liked to do. And so when I went to college, that's the road that I took. And 2 years ago, and she has been a supporter of me, ever since before I graduated high school. And 2 years ago, she passed on with cancer. And I know to this day she is proud of me, and she is still my biggest supporter.
Yeah, thank you, Aunt Charlotte. Thank you. When we talk about those persons that inspired us and the work that we do, we know that students have to be, today, we do a lot with engagement. As a matter of fact, engagement is a part of our quality framework for our framework for quality instruction. How do you purposefully plan engagement for instruction?
Oh, I drag it out of the kids sometimes. Sometimes I don't have to, depending on the subject. With the pictures that I mentioned that we use on Blend Space, or I'll put it up on the projector. I question them. I get them to thinking, and I get them to collaborate with one another. We do a lot of partner share, a lot of the Kagan strategies, small group sharing, and then we share out in a whole group. And sometimes they take over, the discussion, because they get so deep into it because of what I'm able to show them with the use of technology.
Ms. Hargadine, I know that to be the teacher of the year, those persons are involved in many kinds of activities for the daily operation of the school. Explain to us some of those things that Mrs. Beal is involved with.
Julie's vital to my school and how it runs. She is not only a leader in her classroom, she's the reading department chair, and she is helping lead all of her teachers in her department together and helping them do better in the classroom and to achieve at higher rates with our students. She's a lifelong learner. She's been working on her master's degree, which she just finished. I'm very excited for her for that. And she's coming back and sharing what she's learning with our teachers and with others. She's also a member of our MTSS committee. She works on helping us organize and design interventions to help our students achieve at the highest levels possible. And she's become an expert in sharing out data about reading and writing with her teachers and with the other leaders in our school. She is a coach in her background. She also has a period that we call RTI, where she is working on interventions in the behavioral department to help us manage our school. And she's done a great job. And her ability to have relationships with students has allowed her to do that in the 9th grade academy in particular. She also is deeply involved in the entire school in terms of how it's doing. For example, we've been working on how to paint our school. And she got involved and was helping paint our hallways. But then she's gone out and she's worked with Home Depot and brought in almost $5,000 worth of donated paint so that we can continue to paint the entire 9th grade academy. So she's very resourceful and always thinking about how can she help our school.
Mrs. Beal, as a teacher of the year, that person is often the spokesperson for the school. What would you say to a parent to help them make sure that their child remains a success?
The word that first comes to mind is self-advocate. I believe that it is very important for individuals, whether they're students, parents, teachers, administrators, no matter who they are, to step up and believe in themselves and to seek out help or assistance or guidance whenever needed. I make sure that my students feel like they can make mistakes in my classroom. Whenever I make a mistake, I let them know. If they call me out on a misspelled word, I will tell them, thank you for letting me know that I will fix that right now. And, just letting them build their self-confidence, reinforcing, their commitment to their education. Just like I said, being self-advocates for themselves.
Oftentimes you also speak with new teachers. What advice would you or do you give to them?
The first thing that comes to mind is don't isolate yourself. Again, be a self-advocate. Seek out help, seek out guidance, the mentor that they're assigned to. Make use of them, use them, take advantage of them. Seek out guidance with the teachers that are around them. Practice what they preach. And probably one of the most important things is to stay consistent and also to create those relationships.
Ms. Hargadine, I'm going to ask you to narrow your focus and ask you to describe Mrs. Beal using 3 adjectives.
She is passionate, reflective, and a believer.
Care to explain?
Sure. She's very passionate about being a teacher. This is Mrs. Beal's life.
Wow.
And you can feel that in the classroom. The kids know how hard she works for them and how much she cares about them. Her passion for learning more about her craft is apparent at every professional development we have. She brings it to the table every day, and she uplifts the entire room when we talk about teaching. She's very reflective. She wants to explore what are the best avenues to teach reading, to help our students improve. She tries different strategies in the classroom and reflects on what they're doing for our students. And so she improves every week in her room. There's no stopping her. And most importantly for me, and I think this is at the heart of everything, she's a true believer in people. She believes in her children. She believes that they can achieve, and they feel that from her in the room. And she believes we can do better as an entire school. And when you bring that passion and when you bring that level of reflection along with believing in people, there's no stopping her.
Ms. Beal, what role do you play in ensuring that a student is career and or college ready?
Well, with the implementation of Access Now, it has elevated, the impact that I will have on those students preparing for college and their career. And just by teaching them the many different routes they can take with the computer and how to use it appropriately and accordingly, that has, again, just enhanced what they can do, and it has brought out so much of what I would say was probably, hidden in their shell. So many of them have come out, and this is allowing them to practice their skills before they get into college, and I have the privilege of leading them through those practices, which will benefit them greatly when they go into college and then start their own careers.
Let's change our focus just a little. We've talked a lot about what you do each and every day, but we want to have you reflect on you. Why are you a teacher?
Well, like Ms. Hargadine said, I'm very passionate. I want to help people. And I first thought about going into psychology. And then I got to thinking about it. I only get to touch a few people every day, and I wanted to get into a profession where I could touch many more people's lives, each and every day. And education is the route to take for whoever wants to do that. My passion does guide me and allows me to create those strong relationships with students.
Knowing your passion and the relationships that you have been able to create and the things that you're able to do and experience each and every day, when will you know that you are a success?
I feel it. When I'm successful, I feel it, and I feel it through my students. I believe that I am sitting here today because of my students. My students are my stars. They are the ones that encourage me to be better each and every day. Because if I don't, I'm letting them down. And then I'm also letting you down, I'm letting Ms. Hargadine down. I'm letting, society down. Because I am responsible for preparing them for the future. I also feel successful when a junior or a senior comes to me and tells me, Ms. Bill, I passed the test.
Right.
I tested out of intensive reading. And I encourage them to come and tell me when they do, or if they pass the ACT. There's just nothing like a student coming to you or coming to me and thanking me for what I have done to help them get to that point. And when that happens, that's the highest level of success I could ever feel.
Ms. Hargadine, so what makes Mrs. Bill the perfect candidate for this honor?
Julie is a passionate, outstanding teacher who the students know they can trust, and she is invested in the success of every single student in our community and in how our teachers are doing. She's connected to teachers, to students, and to the community, and she's going to continue to grow, and she's going to continue to do great things every year. And the amount that she has impacted what's happening in our building in reading, what's happening in technology, what's happening with our discipline and working with our students on character education, and that's all credited to Mrs. Beal.
Take a moment, Ms. Hargadine, to share with us any other points that will help us understand better why Mrs. Beal is so worthy of this honor by her peers.
She, first of all, you have to know that Julie's a very humble person. I'm sure this interview is very hard for her right now because she comes to the table not as a know-it-all, not as someone who's been there and done that or learned everything she can learn. She comes to the table every day humble about what she knows and shares that with her peers and helps us create a really open-minded mindset among our staff so that we can continue to grow and to change and to do right by our students.
Mrs. Beal, last few questions for you. And when you answer this next question, just think totally, okay? What do you know for sure?
I know for sure that when I wake up in the morning, I want to make a difference in at least one person's life. I know for sure that attitude is everything. And if I wake up not wanting to get up and not wanting to go to school, I know I have to flip that switch and know that I have to be there for my students. I have to be there for my colleagues. I have to be there because I feel like they need me. I know for sure that anyone can make that decision to either have a good day or have a bad day. And I know for sure that when I wake up and I put a smile on my face, I'm ready to go and conquer the world.
Finish the phrase, I believe.
I believe that every student can learn and will learn. I believe that I am a true guidance to my students through their learning. I believe that all of my students will graduate on track. I believe in all of my students. I believe in all students, period.
Henry Drummond told us that the people who influence you are people who believe in you. Thank you for your belief in your students and everything that they're able to conquer. Congratulations on your selection as the Teacher of the Year for Port St. Lucie High School. Ms. Hargadine, thank you for joining us,
Thank
and
you.
we
Thank
wish you
you.
both nothing but the best.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Hart, what's going on?
I'm leaving.
Why? What did I do?
Not enough. You constantly ignore me. You barely eat anything healthy. You're half as active as you used to be. The pressure is just too much. I quit.
Okay, I get it. I'll do better. Just
Please, don't leave. Okay. But remember, if I go, you go.
Listen to your heart. Don't let it quit on you. Uncontrolled high blood pressure could lead to stroke, heart attack, or death. Get yours to a healthy range before it's too late.
And joining us at this time from Morningside Elementary School is Mr. Ryan Prue, who's representing them as their fantastic Teacher of the Year. Mr. Prue, welcome to our show.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Along with Mr. Prue is the dynamic principal, Ms. Cortina Belgray. Welcome, Ms. Belgray.
Thank you. Thank you for having us.
This show is our opportunity in the district to celebrate as well as congratulate those persons that have been selected as the Teacher of the Year. It's our chance to give our community, our viewing audience, an opportunity to kind of meet some of those wonderful teachers that affect the lives of students each and every day. So would you please take a moment, Mr. Prue, and introduce yourself to our viewing audience? Just give a little bit about your background, educational background, your field of study, certifications, and what you're currently teaching at Morningside.
Sure. Like you said, my name's Ryan Prue. I'm a physical education teacher at Morningside Elementary. This is my 4th year in the district. I came from Manatee County. I had 5 years over there. From the area, so I decided to bring it back home and move back here, and it's been a blessing at Morningside, and love it.
When you say you're from the area, did you graduate school here?
I graduated actually from Vero Beach Elementary.
Okay, that's close enough.
From Vero Beach High School. Vero Beach High School.
We adopt you. We adopt you, Ms. Belgray. Someone may not know you as well, so kind of introduce yourself as well as your background.
Thank you. My name is Cortina Belgray. I'm principal at Morningside. I've been principal there currently for 7 years. I have been in the district in St. Lucie County since 1998. And I'm thrilled to continue to do good work and serve people and students here in this district.
As an educator, Mr. Prue, the time that you spent over on the western part of our state and then coming back here, tell us, what's your favorite part of teaching?
My favorite part? Well, when you at that moment when you see a student get it, you know, like we say at Morningside, when you see that aha moment of maybe a skill or something they had been struggling in, or if they come to you and say, oh, I can't. No, you can. And when the light bulb comes on, that's the best moment you can have as an educator, in my opinion.
I know we're working really hard today to infuse technology into our instruction. Our kids basically that you're working with come into this world almost with some form of technology in their hand. How do you go about purposefully infusing technology in instruction?
Well, what I do is we have different forms. Pedometers we use as far as counting their laps and their steps and their laps. We also use the stopwatches and iPods. We also do the iPods because we play a lot of music in my class, and any of my students will tell you, we come out there, we're dancing, we're having fun, and we're moving. So, we bring the iPods out, we bring the stereos out, bring the projector out, we're moving.
DQ5 in our framework for quality instruction is engagement. Oftentimes when a student comes to a class like yours, they're already engaged, but still a teacher must do some back work. So how do you purposefully plan engagement for your lessons?
Well, what I do is what I get a lot of enjoyment out of is talking to my colleagues in physical education, and maybe people that's been doing this longer than I have, and they've been around it a long time. So I take what they have to say and I bring it to my classroom. And what I do is I try to show my passion and my enthusiasm, and always trying to learn more and more about physical education and bring that into my class, and never settle, and always looking to gain more and more and more.
Ms. Belgray, Mr. Prue mentioned that they pull out the iPods, the stereo, they're up and they're moving. Tell me, what is it that you see and hear when you visit his classroom?
Oh my, when you talk about engagement, that's certainly something, because when we look at physical movement as part of the DQ5 and the engagement piece, all the equipment that he brings out, the centers and the stations that he organizes around the activities to make it fun for kids, to make it engaging for students. Just like a classroom teacher, students oftentimes come to PE class not so athletically endowed, as we know we have kids that are not so academically endowed. And coach works with them one-on-one or with small groups, and he takes that time to personally get to know students, to build that rapport with them and to make sure they're working on those skills where they may not be so comfortable, that may be their area of weakness, but that self-esteem building helps them to overcome not feeling like they're such a great athlete, but that they're participating, and always his students are moving, and I love that about his classroom.
May I call you Coach?
Sure.
Coach, have you always known that you wanted to be an educator? And if not, when did you make that discovery?
No, I didn't. And if you would have asked me that when I was going through school, I would have said there's no way I was going to be an educator. And my thing was, I'm going to be in law enforcement, which was my initial bachelor's degree was in criminal justice. Shortly after graduating, I realized that I don't have a passion for that. I don't have a passion for it. What I did have a passion for was sports, and I was thinking to myself, what can I do to share this passion with others? And that got me into education. And once I started, it was on from there, and I loved it.
Can you think of a teacher that might have inspired you, that once you think back, you'd say, yeah, they did it right, and you want to be like them, so they inspire you in the way you teach? Yes. There's been a few in my past that have, and the teachers that take time, that that they care about what happens to you. That they take an interest in you, and you go on knowing that they really do care. And that's what I try to bring that in my classroom too, because that had such a big impact on me when I was growing up, and a few teachers that would do that for me. Mm-hmm. Is there something new and or exciting that you're working on this year?
Let's see, new and exciting, yes. Working on differentiation with our math resource. So
math in
we're integrating math into PE.
Yeah.
So yes, we're collaborating on that. So I'm really excited about an upcoming lesson that we're going to do with our math resource teacher and PE, and to see where that goes and see how that turns out.
Now, Ms. Belgrade, to be the Teacher of the Year, we know that those persons are very heavily involved in the total operation of the school. What other things is Coach involved with?
And he was very modest when he just said, they're doing something with math resource, because he also has organized a district learning community with PE teachers around the district this year. And he took the lead in doing that. So we are very, very excited about that. He is also one of our wellness champions, one of our wellness co-chairs of our wellness committee, and is very involved with PTO and organizing our PTO fun run this year, as well as organizing other wellness activities throughout the school. And I tell you, Coach is he's just a very popular teacher with our students. It is so wonderful to have a resource teacher as a Teacher of the Year, because they see every single student on campus and nearly almost all parents on campus. So they really have a school-wide impact, and Coach certainly has come in and been just like a breath of fresh air or that morning dew for our school. Because our PE program he has really energized it. He's really changed it. And there's more potential for him to grow with our students, because there's some other activities that I know he's planning for the future to make sure that wellness goes hand in hand with education and academics.
Coach, oftentimes when we select a Teacher of the Year, that person becomes the ambassador for our schools. That person is called upon to speak to community members, to different groups, maybe parents and students. What would you specifically say to parents to remind them to help their students to be a success?
My message would just be, we're a community. It's not one person that it takes to, teach a child. It takes the community. It takes you, me, it takes Mrs. Belgrade, it takes our whole community to do that. It takes parent involvement, it takes after-school programs, whether it be sports, music, whatever it might be. It takes the whole community to make that happen, and I believe that. So.
Likewise, I heard Ms. Belgrade say that you started a district-wide learning community. You often have to talk with new teachers. So what advice would you offer to them?
My advice would be, what do you want your students to walk away with? When they walk away from your class, what is your message to the students? What do you want them to learn? And my message would be going in to think about that and to approach it that way. What am I trying to convey to these students, and what do I want them to walk away with? And also is to get with your peers, get get with your team, get with other people in the district that's there to help you. At Morningside, I have great resources. My team's incredible. My resource team is awesome, and as well as the other PE teachers in the district. And that's what I do. I get as much information as I can, and that's what I would stress.
Ms. Belgrade, to be selected the Teacher of the Year, he's got to be dynamic. But I'm going to ask you to describe him using 3 adjectives and tell us why those words come to mind.
Humble is one, because he doesn't vie for the attention that he gets. And I can only say, when we announced that he was Teacher of the Year over the intercom, the entire school went into an uproar. And that's not the kind of attention he likes. He loves to do his job in a very unassuming manner, but making that great, great impact. Another word I would use to describe him would probably be motivated to learn. That's a 3 words there.
I'll take a phrase.
Okay, thank you. He came in wanting to learn because he followed a PE teacher that had been at Morningside for over 30 years.
Wow.
And so he had a new trail to blaze. So maybe it's trailblazer instead of that. But he came in, learned our students, learned our staff, and really wanted to just grow and to make his impact on Morningside. And certainly in the 4 years that he's been there, he's starting to carve that path. And then a third word, I would say personable. Because he's built such a great rapport with our staff and our students and worked in our community, he is just someone you can always talk to, very easy to talk to, always willing to help, always willing to learn, always willing to, he just has a great attitude, and he's a Seminole. So I'm very happy about that as well.
Okay. I guess that's okay. No, we won't hold that against you. Coach, we're going to change the focus just a little bit because we talked about the work that you do. And this may be a little tough because oftentimes it's hard for us to talk about ourselves. But I'm going to ask you, why are you a teacher? Knowing that you majored in a different area and then you had to find that passion that gave you the ability to share your love with others. Why a teacher?
I just love, like I said, I do love to share my passion for sports and my enthusiasm for it. It's just hard to explain. It's that I love to convey that to our students, and I love to see their faces. I love to see them excited. I love to see them learning, and it's awesome. I just love every aspect about teaching, and I feel grateful that I'm in the position that I am, and I wouldn't trade it for the world.
So when will you know that you are a success?
That's a tough one because I feel like I'm always pushing for more and more, and I don't know if I'll ever get to that point where I feel I'm total success. I always feel like there's an area of improvement all the time, and I'm always raising the bar to see, I took it to this far last year. Let's do it this. I don't know. That may be for somebody else to decide. It's hard for me to say. So I just raise the bar.
Ms. Belgrade, we know that every teacher on your campus has the potential and really could be the Teacher of the Year with all of their knowledge and the work that they do, the inspiration that they bring. But what makes Coach the perfect candidate for this honor?
I think what makes him a perfect candidate for this honor is some of the things we mentioned earlier, but first and foremost, or probably most importantly, is that he is truly there for students. He has very high expectations, and student achievement, both academic and athletic, are 2 things that are very, very important to him. You heard him say earlier that he's going to be working with a math resource teacher, and he didn't mention that there are many times when he has incorporated reading into PE and athletics and healthy choices for students. So I think he would be the perfect candidate for all of those reasons. And he just does his job with a smile. He said to you earlier, he's grateful. And that attitude of gratitude is just a perfect attitude to have when you're talking about representing teachers throughout the entire district and representing teachers in that area of, again, PE and physical education. And we know how health and wellness is such an important thing in our schools, in our district, in our state, in our country. You know, Michelle Obama's big thing is let's get moving, you know, and that has prompted him also to start something with NFL Fuel Play 60. And so we're very excited about that initiative that he's starting, you know, this year as well. So for all of those reasons, Michelle Obama says it best. Coach, you know, he definitely exemplifies that. Let's get moving.
So we've talked a lot in specifics, but is there anything else that you want to share with our viewers about Coach and his selection as Teacher of the Year for Morningside Elementary?
He was hands down a choice. There was a huge gap between him and probably the second or third place person, but he's someone that everyone knows on campus. When you say Coach Prue and you said Coach, you know, that's exactly what we call him. Everyone knows who you're talking about, and you can always count on Coach to be there for any part of any lesson. If you need something in your classroom, go to Coach. He has many supplies, lots of equipment there to share. Even recess, you know, we've struggled sometimes with recess and having those organized activities, and Coach has been wonderful in helping all of our teachers K through 5 organize those activities and get equipment out for those activities so that students are doing some structured PE during that recess, classroom PE during that time.
So Coach, when you think about your decision to be an educator, when you think about sharing your love and your passion, tell us, what is it that you know for sure?
I know for sure that I'm blessed, and I know for sure that I try to convey that type of passion and feeling towards my students. And you know, I know for sure I love what I do. I know for sure that I love Morningside, great administration, great colleagues, great team like I mentioned earlier. I know for sure that I'm where I'm supposed to be.
So finish the phrase for me. I believe.
I believe we can achieve anything together.
Well, Coach, it's been wonderful having this opportunity to talk with you and to introduce you to our viewing audience. I want to leave you with the words with John Blades when he said, teachers are the important link to the future. And everything that our children are able to do and when they work with teamwork, collaboration, those kinds of things that they learn by the sports and by physical movement helps them be better in everything else that they have to do along the way. So thank you for linking them to the future. Thank you for the work that you're doing with and for them every day, as well as what you're sharing with your colleagues. Ms. Belgrade, thank you for sharing with us and for helping us introduce Coach to our viewers. And Coach, again, congratulations on your selection as Teacher of the Year.
Thank you so much.
Thank
It was
you.
my pleasure to be here.
Thank you.
It's a privilege.
You're doing great. We're gonna try this again, okay?
Okay.
Wheels, pedals, handlebar, brakes. Sit up straight, keep your weight in the center, keep your eyes on the road, hands on the grips, butt in the seat. If we feel ourselves falling, what do?
Just keep pedaling.
Good girl. Now remember, it's all about balance and steering. Steer with your hands, steer with your body. Steer into the corners and you stay out of trouble. And the bell's your buddy, so go ahead and ding that. All right, you ready? Here we go. Pedal, honey, pedal. There you go, you're a bike rider.
Most parenting is hard to do in just 2 minutes. But 2 minutes twice a day making sure they brush is easier, and it could help save them from a lifetime of tooth pain.
At this time, we want to welcome the fantastic teacher from Savannah Ridge Elementary, Miss Lori Boyer, to our Teacher of the Year celebration show. Congratulations and welcome.
Thank you.
Along with Miss Boyer tonight is Miss LaTanya Green, the awesome principal at Savannah Ridge. Welcome also, Miss Green.
Thank you. Good evening.
Ms. Boyer, this is our opportunity to introduce the Teachers of the Years for each of our schools to our viewing audience. So I'm going to ask if you would take a moment and share with them just a little bit about your background, school that you attended, your major, the grade, and our subjects that you're teaching at this time as well.
Sure. I'm a graduate of St. Lucie County School District.
Way to go. We'll stop right there. Yay, St. Lucie.
And then I received my bachelor's degree from University of Central Florida in Orlando and my master's from Nova Southeastern University. I'm certified in elementary education K through 6 as well as ESOL endorsed, and I'm an instructional coach at Savannah Ridge Elementary.
And what school did you graduate from in St. Lucie County?
Port St. Lucie High School.
Port St.
I
Lucie
started
High.
at Westwood and then I finished at Port St. Lucie
So
High
deep
School.
down inside, you're a Panther.
I really kind of am, you
Once
know.
a
I have
Panther,
the whole
always a
song
Panther.
down, you know, everything.
It works for me.
Absolutely.
It works for me. Again, congratulations
Thank you.
and welcome to this show. You are an instructional coach right now. Kind of explain to our viewers what your role entails?
The best way that I could explain it to someone is that I feel as though I essentially build relationships with teachers and partner with them to discuss standards, best practices, strategies, things of that nature that can be implemented in the classroom based on student data and such, and put those into action, work with them, model in their classroom, co-teach with them, and collaboratively plan with them. So that's kind of the main scope of my job.
So what's your favorite part of teaching?
I would say probably my favorite part of teaching in general is just relationships that I could build with the students and watch them grow in a capacity of ways, whether it's behaviorally, socially, academically. I think that's what drives me inside as a teacher. As an instructional coach, I think that it's the relationships that I get to build with the teachers and collaborating with them, because we could learn from each other so much.
Have you always known that you wanted to be a teacher? And if not, when did you make that discovery?
Actually, I originally went to school for Health Services Administration, and I was in Human Resources previous to this. So I did that for a handful of years and enjoyed that, but then I realized that really my passion is with working with children. So I had volunteered with Make-A-Wish Foundation for about 13 years, and I thought, I enjoy working with kids, helping them out, understanding them, and I thought, what, education is probably something that I would, really thrive in and, hopefully be successful in with the students. So I made the career change into that about 5 years after being out into the workforce.
So when you made that decision to basically follow your heart, did you have an opportunity, or did you ever reflect on a teacher or teachers that might have inspired you once you reflect?
Yes, very much so.
And who might they be?
It was actually the number one person that stands out in my mind is my first grade teacher, Miss Smecko. She was someone who, as a teacher, she looked at the students, of course, academic abilities as well as their social abilities, and truly cared about every one of her students from her heart. And I felt like that was a great person to model how I would be a teacher from.
Ms. Green, when you visit classroom with your teacher of the year, Ms. Boyer, what is it that you see and what is it that you hear?
When we're visiting classrooms, one thing about Ms. Boyer is that she is very knowledgeable. And prior to entering classrooms or any interaction with teachers or with students, or even with parents, one thing Ms. Boyer is really good about is laying the plan out, the foundation on what the expectations should look like, what her previous work may have been with particular teachers or the classrooms or that we're going to be going into or working with individual children. So when we are in classrooms or whether we are engaged in collaborative planning or around the campus, Lori is very good about speaking with children in the classroom. She's very good about observing the work. She's very good about jumping in even in classrooms because she's built that relationship. So oftentimes she kind of leaves us as administrators off to the side because she has built that relationship so much with the teachers and students that she just jumps right in, becomes a part of those classrooms. So we have an opportunity to not only observe what students are doing and what teachers are doing, but also what my wonderful instructional coach is doing as well in the classrooms.
And I need to apologize because maybe there's someone that does not know the wonderful LaTanya Green. So would you give us a little bit about your background as well so that our viewers will better know you?
All right. Okay. Well, as Dr. Perry said earlier, that I am the principal of the awesome, fantastic Savannah Ridge Elementary. I have been in education for almost 20 years now. My background is in exceptional student education. I've spent some time of my educational career in Orlando before moving back to Fort Pierce, which is my home. I am a graduate of Lincoln Park Academy. Yay! Go
So we're
Greyhounds.
celebrating another one of St. Lucie products. It's really great to have graduates of our school district come back and help us prepare the next generation of our students.
Absolutely.
Great. Well, thank you, and I apologize for not starting out that way. When we look at the students that we're working with each and every day, our students come with technology, are born with technology in their hand, very savvy about what to do with any and all kinds of technology. So how do you help teachers purposefully plan infusion of technology for instruction?
I think in this day and age, as you stated, with them coming in with the background that they have with technology, that's imperative in order to keep them engaged in what they're learning. I've had previous experience actually as a virtual teacher as well, so technology is on the forefront for me. I actually love technology. If there's something new, I want to learn it, technology-wise, and I want to share it with others. So honestly, typically in collaborative planning sessions, that's when we'll look to infuse the technology. I'll find whatever's new out there and try to share it with team members, and then typically then we look to infuse it in the classroom, either by me helping them, by co-teaching, making them feel comfortable with it, or providing training so that they understand the system itself.
You mentioned the word engagement, and we know in the St. Lucie Public Schools Framework for Quality Instruction, DQ5 is all about engagement. So how do you help teachers purposefully use or plan to use engagement for their lessons as well?
I think that it's imperative to have a wide modality of things that you're doing in your classroom in order for them to truly be engaged. So whether it's physical movement through a cooperative learning structure, whether it's providing opportunity for cooperative learning, utilizing technology to learn, whatever it might be. I just try and find the latest and greatest and make real life connections for them, because I think providing those real life situations has little light bulbs go off for them and realize, oh, this is something applicable in life. It's not just, something I'm learning here in these four walls of the school. So I think kind of going with all those modalities helps them to stay engaged.
Okay, I'm going to use your terminology again.
Sure.
You mentioned the latest and the greatest. Is there something new and exciting that you're working on this year?
Technology-wise? Or just in general?
In general.
Okay. I think one of the biggest things that we're working on, honestly, as a team at Savannah Ridge is parent involvement. And so we've been working really hard to have monthly parent involvement nights in which, whether it's reading-based, math-based, we infuse the technology as we can, get them linked in with the technology so that they understand how to best support their child as well. So I say that's one of the things that we've really been striving for this year, and we're very proud that every month we've had a family night type of event to better help students and their families.
Now, Mrs. Green, Ms. Boyer spoke about family night, but we know that the person that's the teacher of the year is usually heavily involved in everything that helps the school operate. Can you tell us some of the other activities that she may be involved with?
Everything is the word.
Okay.
I don't believe that there is one thing that happens on that campus that Ms. Boyer has not been a part of or even actually initiated. Beyond our curriculum and family nights, our spearhead for being the collaborative planning lead on our campus, one of our curriculum leads on that campus. Even with engagement, she is our technology guru on campus. We are Facebooking, we are tweeting, we are doing everything imaginable. Our website page, she keeps it up to date and on point. And the beauty of Lori and the person that she is that it does not stop at the school level. What she does in the community and to bring it back to our campus to keep those things infused and connected is beyond belief, especially with the media connections that she have. Again, with the tweeting and the technology components of that, her hands are pretty much into everything. One thing that we work really hard as an administrative team at Savannah Ridge is to make sure that we are building others and that we are giving some of those privileges and delegating a lot of those duties. And Lori is one of our lead people on campus, and she is probably absolutely well-rounded and probably could perform at any level in our school building.
Let me ask you then to describe Ms. Boyer using 3 adjectives and tell us why those 3.
Dedicated for sure. She puts her heart and soul into everything that she does. You can't find a more dedicated, more just committed to the cause person out there. Very passionate. She's very passionate about children doing well, about our community being abreast of what's happening, about teachers being successful, and about Savannah Ridge being successful as a whole. That lies within her heart. And those are things that you cannot teach people. They are pretty much born with those things, and they are embedded and ingrained in their soul and their spirit. And definitely with the dedication and the passion, Lori is far excels a lot of people and things out there in the world with those 2 pieces for sure. And the third adjective that I would use would definitely be enthusiastic. She has this infectious smile that I don't care what kind of day I'm having, what kind of day a student is having, what kind of day a parent is having, a teacher, it does not matter. We call her LB on campus, and she knows, Unit 1, the LB, like she knows that, okay, we need to kind of talk this out, because when she enters a room, I mean, her enthusiasm and what she delivers with that beautiful smile and her spirit really just sets the tone and make you change any belief or any attitude that you may be having at that time.
Ms. Boyer, in the role that you play as an instructional coach, how do you see yourself having an impact on the student's ability to be career and or college ready?
I think my role as an instructional coach is imperative in helping them to see that, because beyond taking just a curriculum, I think they need to understand what is available around them, what resources are out there, set goals. You know, I mean, as adults, that's what we do. We set goals, we strive for those. Me personally, they're always ever changing, because I'm a lifelong learner, so you know, I want to change and learn and grow. And I think that providing students with that ability to be organized, setting goals, and knowing that there's a future that if they can, you know, believe it, then they can achieve it. And so I think instilling that in them and making them believe in themselves is helping them to get to the next level where they need to be.
We spend a lot of time talking about the work that you do, but let's change our focus a little bit and ask you to talk about you. Why are you a teacher?
Why am I a teacher? Because I believe in children. Honestly, I believe in children, and I think that every individual has the ability to be better than they were the day before. And so if I can provide my enthusiasm for learning onto other students and onto other teachers, then I've done my job. And I think that that's really what drives me as a teacher.
So when will you know that you are a success?
You know what? I think it's really hard to necessarily put a measurable component to that. I think you set goals, they're ever changing, and hopefully you feel successes from those goals that you've set. But honestly, I think it would probably have to be others determining that I was a success in, you know, what they see. Because really, I know in my heart what I do, I know in my heart what drives me, but what really matters at the end of the day is how I help others and how they feel from what I do. So if I make them feel good and I help them be better than they were the day before, then I think that that's measuring success.
Mrs. Green, it's obvious that she's having an impact and that she is demonstrating a lot of success in what she is doing at Savannah Ridge. So tell us, what makes her the perfect candidate for this honor?
Ms. Boyer is definitely a well-rounded individual. She's had experience in quite an array of duties and responsibilities even outside of education. I think with her pretty much community experience and what she brings to the world of education and her knowledge, and again her dedication and just her commitment and passion about what she does, she is truly an advocate for children. She is truly an advocate for teachers. She is truly an advocate for bringing the community, families, parents across the board together and bonding as one to ensure that all of our children are capable of success. And she is a go-getter. She is a go-getter, and you know, you asked her about the measuring of if when she was a success, or how would we determine that. And that is difficult to answer because of the impact that she does make, because she does not stop. She keeps pushing and she keeps pushing and she keeps pushing. And I think those are key characteristics and a part of your personality, components that you need to have, especially in this day and age in what we're dealing with education. But if you're looking for an advocate, if you're looking for a true believer in what teachers do and what students do in supporting parents and bringing the community to us and going out to the community, then we do have the Teacher of the Year at Savannah Ridge. We have the Teacher of the State, Teacher for the State, and we have the National Teacher of the Year because she brings it all to the table.
So with that shared, I have to ask, is there anything else that you want to share with us about Ms. Boyer?
I'm going to tell you on a serious note that we are the lucky ones. at Savannah Ridge to have such a wonderful person as Miss Boyer. She is very genuine. And starting with her in her education career, Miss Boyer and I have a bond outside of Savannah Ridge because I hired her at Oak Hammock K-8 when I served as assistant principal there. And when the opportunity came for us to hire an instructional coach, I told my assistant principal that if I can get Laura Boyer, I will hold out until she is ready to switch over and come work with us at Savannah Ridge, and that's what we kind of did. And when I got her, it was very nice to be reunited with Lori and just share that same passion and commitment and dedication, as I've said before, that she has to spread throughout our building.
Ms. Boyer, when you look at the work that you've done prior to being an educator, the work that you're doing as an educator, and you think of all of that all-encompassing, tell us, what is it that you know for sure?
I know if you put your mind to it, you can do it, whether you're a child or an adult. And I know that if you have one person who just believes in you, then you can make it happen. And you can help instill that belief in someone who maybe doesn't have that strength or perseverance. But I'd say those are the things that I know for sure.
Finish the phrase for me then. I believe.
I believe that any child can learn, grow, and thrive socially, behaviorally, and academically in the right environment.
Mark Van Doren said, "The art of teaching is the art of assisting discovery." Thank you for the work that you're doing in assisting teachers to help assist students in their discovery of the wonderful world of education and academia that leads them to be able to reach higher heights and fulfill all of their truest potential. Ms. Green, thank you for joining us, and Ms. Boyer, congratulations on your selection as Teacher of the Year for Savannah Ridge Elementary School.
Thank you very much. It's been a pleasure.
How can I help my daughter with her reading?
Searching for help with Dachshund Reading.
No.
Let me try. Sarah's bright, but when she's reading, she has trouble sounding out words.
Playing world music.
What?
I give up.
Wait, I was trying to show you how Sarah feels every day. Frustrating, isn't it? Redirecting to understood.org.
Join parents and experts at understood.org, a free online resource about learning and attention issues to help your child thrive.
And at this time, we want to welcome to our Teacher of the Year celebration show the fantastic Teacher of the Year at Allapattah Flats K-8 School, Miss Laura Bonds. Welcome to our show.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Joining her is the fantastic Kimberly J., who's serving as the principal at Allapattah Flats. Welcome, Ms. J.
Thank you. Great to be here as well.
Now, Ms. Barnes, this is our opportunity to introduce the fantastic Teachers of the Year to our viewing audience. In addition to that, it helps us also show our viewers the dynamic teaching force that we have that's preparing the next generation of students here in St. Lucie County. So I'm going to start by asking you, if you would briefly introduce yourself to our viewers. Make sure you included where you did your field of study, the area that you studied in, what you're currently teaching, and the grade or grades.
My name is Laura Barnes, and I'm a science resource teacher at Allapattah Flats K-8. I teach kindergarten through 5th grade. And I studied here at Lincoln Park Academy. I graduated, so I'm a local.
Another local.
Another
All
local.
right, we're applauding our locals. Great.
And I went to FSU, Florida State University, and graduated with a certification or a bachelor's degree in Family, Child, and Consumer Sciences. I am certified in elementary ed K-6.
Well, it's so exciting to have you working here in St. Lucie County, knowing that you're a product of our school system as well. You are actually demonstrating and showing our viewers everything that's right and that's good about our St. Lucie Public Schools. Now, we're jumping right in. Been a teacher, so what's the favorite part, your favorite part of teaching?
My favorite part of teaching is walking in and seeing the joy on their face. When they come into my classroom, when we get to do interactive stuff, my classroom as a resource teacher is more about, it is a brain break in a way for them to come out of the classroom and do something different. But in science, we have to make sure we're hitting those standards in the scope and sequence. However, in my class, we're hands-on completely. So there's lots of movement, lots of excitement going on, learning obviously as well. But my my joy comes from seeing their excitement and just the passion about coming into my classroom and seeing what we're doing today.
Have you always known that you wanted to be a teacher? And if not, when did you make that decision?
I did not. I would never have guessed that I was going to be a teacher growing up. I actually studied 3 years at Florida State in dietetics. So I figured that's where I was going to go. I worked for the agriculture department here in the county for 5 years, and I taught enrichment in the classroom. So I was just kind of a part-time teacher at that time.
Getting your feet wet.
Getting my feet wet. And I just thought, you know, I just don't know if I'm cut out for it. I don't know if I could stay all day in the classroom because I'm really hands-on and I like to be in and out, because my job was to kind of bring the classroom outside. So I just didn't think that I could do it. I had Patty Galloway contact me over and over again and really give me that push, and I did it.
So as you reflect back, knowing that you made that decision to transition and to be a full-time educator, did you ever think back to say, well, maybe you were inspired by a teacher or different teachers along the way, and if so, who?
Yes, I would have to say Patty Galloway, just because of her belief in me that I could do this, because I thought, oh, there's no way. She saw something that I didn't see, and that really inspired me. Like, I thought if she could really see something and contact me for over a year wanting me to come into her school, then there must be something that she sees that I don't. Also, Susan Munyon, who works for the local 4-H, she's the 4-H agent here in St. Lucie County. She also, at that time, was my supervisor, but she was really pushing me to teach too because she saw me in the classroom.
Ms. J, let's jump you in right now. Also, because there may be someone that does not know the fantastic Kimberly J, would you please give us a little bit about your background?
Yes, this is I believe it's my 18th year in St. Lucie County Public Schools. Started off as a teacher at Longwood Elementary for 9 years, taught at Sam Gaines for 2 years, went to become a response intervention coach, worked with a couple of our schools, and then transitioned into administration at Okamic for 4 years before transitioning, luckily this year, as the principal of Allapattah Flats.
And we're so lucky to have you there.
I appreciate that.
Now tell me, when you walk into Ms. Barnes' classroom, what is it that you see? What is it that you hear?
What's interesting is you don't know what you're going to get until you get there, because I've gone in and there's been a guest speaker and kids are engaged with the guest speaker and Ms. Barnes is there facilitating that, or you go in and they're hands-on. They are talking. Students are engaged in conversations about science. They are exploring, asking questions, inquiry. It's never a quiet classroom, but it's always an engaging classroom. It's not sidebar conversations. It's not, there's no downtime, but they are engaged from the moment they walk in and they're excited about it, and they enjoy science. Girls and boys, and a lot of times you see a lot of boys that really enjoy science, but you see the girls just as involved, and they are active participants in that science exploration in that classroom.
Yeah, the boys like to get their hands dirty.
They do.
Yes, yes, yes. Now, Ms. Barnes, knowing that the students that you teach are very savvy when it comes to the use of technology, how do you purposefully plan to use technology during instruction?
How do you not use technology today in the classroom? It's everywhere, from even just using my microphone to PowerPoint on the computer, having them research things or find out answers to questions in the classroom on the computer. We use a tablet for timing and experiments, microscopes, anything like that, you name it, we use it.
We just alluded to the fact that boys like to get their hands dirty,
They do.
so they're always into it. In our framework for quality instruction, DQ5 is all about engagement. What are you doing? How do you plan engagement so that everybody wants to get their hands dirty?
Well, I do it in several ways. I'm a big community person. I grew up here. Knowing a lot of contacts, I'd love to bring them into the classroom, or vice versa, or we can go visit them. I love to have anything hands-on. I want them to leave with a product from my classroom. I want them, if they're not leaving with some kind of product, then they're doing something hands-on directly in the classroom.
Is there something new and or exciting that you're specifically working on this year?
The first thing that I'm really excited about is Grace Packs. That's one of my passions. I love being a part of that. This is my 3rd year being a part of that, and I love that the most. I also love having the community again coming into the classroom. I'm really excited to have. I've had in-water research in there a lot this year. I've had 4-H enrichment. We've had Save the Chimps. Really, any community that comes in is just enjoyable for the kids to see, the different parts of sciences as well.
So briefly tell us, what is Grace Packs?
Grace Packs is a backpack program for kids who don't have food at home, and we give it to them on Friday, and they take it home for the weekend, so that way they can be sustained until they come back to school on Monday.
So if someone wanted to make a donation of some non-perishable items, could they drop it off at Alabama?
Absolutely.
Great, great. Ms. J, we're talking about what's new and exciting that's going on in Ms. Barnes' classroom. To be the teacher of the year, we know that they're heavily involved in just the total operation of the school. What other activities would you see her involved with?
Oh, goodness. There's so much. One of the things that she mentioned is the Grace Pack program that Ms. Barnes does help oversee and to make sure that our students are sustained over the weekend. She will be working with our fair display coming up to showcase what our students are able to do at the St. Lucie County Fair. She works with all of our teachers, even K-8, even in middle school. She collaborates with our middle school teachers to get them making sure that if they need anything for science resources, she collaborates with our K-5 teachers, especially working closely with 5th grade teachers to making sure that her instruction aligns with what the teachers are doing in the classroom, and she can enhance that. She has volunteered at our pancake breakfast that we had in December. She was at the back to school dance at the beginning of the school year. She's been at after school programs. So she's really involved in our whole school. It's not just that science classroom when the students are going to her during that resource time.
Take a moment and describe Ms. Barnes using 3 adjectives and tell us why those adjectives.
Passionate, compassionate, and driven. Passionate because she believes in what she does. She believes in the foundation of science education for our students. Compassionate for our students because she really cares for each and every one of them as an individual. She is nurturing with them. She wants to make sure that their well-being is taken care of inside and outside of school. Driven to succeed because when she's successful, our students are successful.
Ms. Barnes, oftentimes as the teacher of the year, we call on that person to be a spokesperson and the ambassador for our schools. What would you say to a parent or to a student to help ensure that that child remains a success?
Well, I first of all believe that it does take a village to raise the children. And it's my job to engage not only the children, but their parents as well. I feel like the success of the child depends on the parent and the teacher in the classroom. So I definitely like them to see me at the events that she spoke of. I want them to see me in the community and at all the school events, so that way I get that contact with them. We are so far out where we're located that we don't get a lot of parents driving their kids to school, so I don't get that parent contact a lot. So I love to have it in the community, and I love to have it when we have any event at school.
Also in your role as Teacher of the Year, we often call for you to give some advice to a new teacher. What would that advice be?
I thought about this one hard. It would definitely have to be, don't judge your first year. Don't judge your first year. Sit back. The number one thing that first year teachers get upset over is classroom management. And if you can adopt a good policy with classroom management and get the number one, the kids' expectation, the students' expectation met, then you're good to go. The rest, it'll be a breeze.
Ms. J, knowing all that we know, hearing all that we've spoken about already during this interview, what makes Ms. Barnes the perfect candidate for this honor?
There are so many different facets to Laura Barnes as a teacher, as a professional, that she encompasses so much of what we look for in St. Lucie Public Schools. She has just the dedication to the students of our district. Like she mentioned, she doesn't it's not just within the walls of Alapata Flats. She reaches out into our community. She involves herself in many ways outside of our school. Students that, if there's an event going on and they ask her to come, she's going to be there. At the fair, when students are involved with showing animals in St. Lucie County at the fair, she's there to watch them. If they've got a display going on somewhere, she's there to support them. So when I think about her and I think about what we want everybody to know about St. Lucie Public Schools, it's that we have caring, compassionate teachers that believe in our students, that believe that every day they walk into their classroom, that that child is important, that child is special, and that child makes a difference. And that's what Laura Barnes brings.
Ms. Barnes, we're going to change the focus a little bit from talking about all the things that you do to being more specifically having you talk about yourself.
Oh boy.
Okay?
Okay.
Why are you a teacher?
I'm a teacher because I keep coming back. It's an addiction. I keep coming back to see the joy and the excitement with my students every day. Just their excitement as they wait outside the door, or they're mad when I have a sub in my classroom and I'm not there. I know that they miss my presence more than, anything, and that gives me joy.
When will you know that you are a success?
I think you're a success when those students look forward to coming to your classroom. They miss when they're not there or you are not there. Being able to, give them exit cards on their way out and see how much they're grasping, or being able to fill that gap that is, there with science, and being able to see them grasp it, get it, and be excited about it.
So, Ms. J, is there anything else that you want to share with our viewers about the wonderful Ms. Laura Barnes?
I could go on for a while, but I just, I want people to know that in St. Lucie Public Schools we have phenomenal teachers, and Ms. Barnes is an exemplar of what goes on in our schools every single day. She is engaging for students. She works well with her colleagues. She is a mentor to new teachers. She really just is dedicated to our students, our community, our faculty, staff, and families.
So, Ms. Barnes, knowing that the work that you've done previously before doing the full-time work as an educator, knowing all that you have had opportunity to experience in the classroom and bringing that real-world experience to those students, when you think about all of that, what is it that you know for sure?
I know for sure that I want the students to be involved in the community with the students. I know that I want the students to have a responsibility in their community, and I want the community to have a responsibility for the student.
So finish the phrase for me. I believe
that every child is capable of success. And I don't mean that as a cliche, I mean that truly, because each success for each student is gonna look different. And I feel that sometimes we overlook what success can really be. And one of my students is gonna be different. Their success is gonna be different than another student, and that's okay.
The Japanese proverb says, better than 1,000 days of diligent study is one day with a great teacher. We congratulate you on your selection as Teacher of the Year, and thank you for being one of those great teachers that continues to prepare the next generation of students, just like yourself, from St. Lucie Public Schools. Ms. J, thank you for joining us. Once again, congratulations, and we look forward to great things from you in your classroom, Ms. Barnes.
Thank you very much.
I'm a teacher. Let me tell you what I make. I make learning a privilege, not a chore, and frustration a tool, not an obstacle. I make working hard seem easy and giving up impossible. I make an old subject feel like a fresh thought and unconventional methods common. I'm a teacher. I make more.
Joining us this time is the fantastic teacher from Southport Middle School, Miss Jenna Wood.
Hello.
How are you?
Good.
Congratulations on your selection.
Thank you.
It's a pleasure for us to have this opportunity to speak with you. She's brought along with her the fantastic Miss Nicole Talise, who's the wonderful principal at Southport Middle. Miss Talise, welcome.
Thank you. Glad to be here.
We're going to jump right in. But what we want to do is make sure that our viewing audience has an opportunity to learn a little bit about more who you are. So would you please tell us a little bit about your educational background, the school that you matriculated at, your area of study, what you're teaching right now, and the grades that you may be teaching.
Okay. I'm Jenna Woods. I'm currently working at Southport Middle as a 7th grade intensive math teacher. This is my 4th year there. I went to FAU for my bachelor's in education. And then right now I'm pursuing my master's in leadership at FAU.
Great, great. I'm an FAU grad too. Way to go, Alpha. All right. Now, what's the favorite part of teaching for you?
I love like in the morning when the kids come in and they're like, "Good morning, Miss Woods," and they're excited to come in and see you and tell you about their weekend and just excited to come to school in general.
Have you always known that you wanted to be a teacher? And if not, when did you make that decision?
Well, growing up, I loved helping my sisters like with their homework and things like that. So that was always a good passion of mine with the neighborhood kids. But when I first started school, I actually was going for interior decorating, and then I realized I couldn't draw very well. So that wasn't going to work out. So then I didn't like high school or middle school growing up. I didn't have like someone to look up to. Being a student definitely wasn't something I liked. So being a teacher, I felt like I wanted to go into education so that I can be that someone for them.
Well, let me throw this question out at you now that you said that. Knowing what you know, what you just shared with us, when you think back, do you think that there might have been some teacher that inspired you to become an educator?
I really don't have anyone that I remember by name that would try to like build a connection with you or like a relationship. No one that comes to mind. So that's one passion that I have that I
Want
try
to
to
be
do with
that
most
kind
kids.
of teacher
Yes.
for other teachers,
Yes.
for your students.
Want to be an ace for them all.
Oh, I understand that ACE thing. Excellent, excellent. Miss Talise,
yes.
Just in case somebody does not know the dynamic, Miss Nicole Talise, would you please give us a little bit about your background as well?
Sure. This is my 15th year in education, my 10th year in St. Lucie County. I kind of grew up along the ranks at Southport Middle School. I was a teacher there, an ESE teacher, and then I was an ESE department chair there, and then I was an assistant principal there, and now I'm the principal, my second year principal at Southport Middle.
Great, great, great. Now, knowing that the students that we work with, Ms. Woods, very savvy with technology, how do you infuse technology in instruction?
Nowadays with technology, it's everywhere. That's part of their life. Sometimes they actually teach me stuff, but every day, like my lessons are within PowerPoints, and they love to come up and like write on the board on to the PowerPoint. They do a lot of station games and stuff on the computers. Are you ready? Think through math, and they just enjoy like the competition of seeing like how many points they earn and their neighbors, classmates earn, and they enjoy it.
DQ5 in our framework for quality instruction is all about engagement. How do you purposefully plan engagement for instruction?
Being an intensive math, they have a block of math, so they're in there for quite some time. So I think it's them getting up out of their seats and having them move around is what keeps them, very engaged. A lot of hands-on, like even math board games. Jeopardy, we like to play Jeopardy to review. They love that. Or Who Wants to Be a Millionaire?
Is there something new and or exciting that you're working on this year?
This year I'm finishing my last semester at FAU for leadership, so I get to shadow Talise and Miss Sexton, our assistant principal, and the deans and stuff like that. So that's really fun, being on that side of teaching.
Mm-hmm.
And also I'm working on mindset, trying to have having our students, change that from fixed mindset of like coming in, I hate math, like which majority of them do.
I can get it, I can do it, right?
Yes.
Cool. Miss Talise, when you're the Teacher of the Year, that means you're heavily involved in many activities that go on the campus. Would you mind sharing with us some of those things that Miss Woods may be involved with?
Sure. It'd probably be easier to share what she's not involved in because she's involved in every aspect of the school. This year she's taken on the role as collaborative planning facilitator, so she leads a group of 4 7th grade math teachers, and she helps them design a common assessment, making sure that it's aligned to the standards. She helps them create a high-quality unit of instruction that is aligned to the standards. She supports them through data analysis to guide their instruction, and she plays an important role there. She talked a little bit about Kids at Hope, and she is a member of our Kids at Hope core team that just tries to make sure that our students are planning for their future and that they believe they can be successful, and she designs opportunities to make sure that all of our teachers are building relationships with our students and that everybody really feels invested at the school. You'll find her teaching Saturday school at least 2 times a month. You'll find her at every extracurricular activity that she could possibly attend, every parent involvement activity. She's part of our Sunshine Club, which is designed to really build a family atmosphere for our faculty and staff. So, I mean, really, she's involved in every single aspect of our school.
So knowing all that you know, and I purposefully had you share those activities with us, because now I want to ask you to just simply describe her using 3 adjectives and tell us why.
3 adjectives. I guess I would have to say caring, passionate, and hardworking. Caring, she really is a relationship builder. She talked about that being part of her favorite part of the day, where she's greeting the students, all students, the entire continuum. She is so good at building relationships and getting to know them personally, which really inspires them to want to learn, especially those who struggle. You know, they feel like somebody's invested in them. So I would say that is one major characteristic of her. Also passionate. She just really loves education, like she described, not just in the classroom, but herself. She's a lifelong learner. She's involved in a master's program, and she's a mentor, mentoring new teachers. So just everything she does really kind of epitomizes, passion for education. And then hardworking, like I said, she works from morning to night. She's on our campus. She's one of the first ones to arrive and the last to leave. And anytime we have a call for or a need for support for a student or for a parent or for somebody, she's always the first to really respond to that.
Ms. Woods, what impact do you have on your students' ability to be career and or college ready?
I think middle school is really important because that's when they start making that as a fixed mindset of I hate school or, where they want to give up or not try. So I think it's really important to try to change that in middle school to make them more successful to get through middle school and high school and want to see where the future can bring. And I'm working the after school program. We do activities where they had to find out what, if they wanted to build a restaurant, things for like their future, like where they want to go like after school, like after they get out of high school, what they can do with that.
Oftentimes when we have our Teacher of the Year, they serve as our ambassadors, the spokesperson for our schools. What would you say to a parent and or a student to help ensure that their child is successful?
Many of the students, they love to make goals. They'll make goals that they're going to be basketball players. But I help them to make little goals to oversee a larger goal. They can't just hop into this big goal of what they want to do and who they want to be. They have to take those little steps to get there, and it doesn't happen overnight. So just seeing the little changes that they can overcome and accomplish.
In addition to that, you have to share often with possibly new teachers. What advice would you give to them?
Being a new teacher, don't give up. The first year can be very overwhelming with trying to find, even where the cafeteria is or the gym and trying to get the names down of not only the people that you work with, but the students and, not to be afraid to ask for help. A lot of them feel like asking for help is, something that can be frowned upon, but, we're very, welcoming and we understand, they ask questions and don't judge it on their first year, not even their second year. I think after that's when you start to feel more comfortable.
Yeah,
yes.
It gets better.
Starts to be a little green light at the end of that dark tunnel.
Okay. Ms. Talise, what makes Ms. Woods the perfect candidate for this honor?
I would really just say that it's her heart. She truly has the heart of a teacher. She works on building relationships with students, with parents, with the rest of the faculty and staff, and she really makes a difference on our campus, and we're super thankful that she's there.
Knowing your background, Ms. Woods, and knowing everything that you know and all that you have experienced, and when you go into the classroom trying to bring that joy and that passion to the students that you're working with, that they can, what is it that you know for sure?
What do I know for sure? That they can do it. Tomorrow's a new day, so if they didn't understand something today, like they can come back tomorrow and ask a question and, keep working towards what they want to work with. And they don't need to think of one day or one assignment or one small thing that happened in life is the end of the world, which they seem to think with in middle school.
Middle school, yes.
Yeah.
When will you know that you are a success?
Just having the kids come into school and loving to come into intensive math, and which a lot of them don't enjoy it, and when they get excited to get a problem correct, and they're so excited to show you that they got this grade on this, even if it's not math, like even a reading test or something, they get excited to show you that. And then looking at like our standards and showing them where they started off in the beginning of the year and then where they are now, and they did learn something, even though they may not feel like they have totally, that they're working towards it and they're on the right track.
Why are you a teacher?
Well, I'm a teacher. I'm a teacher, I believe, because I'm a passionate person for kids, and I used to work at Hibiscus Children's Center, and I used to help them with their homework and stuff, and I just loved like working with them, and I realized that I do love working with kids because, as I said, I wasn't totally a school person growing up, so I was like, I can do this. And then going in, I tried being a substitute for a little while, and then I was like, okay, I really enjoy this, and I love basically building the relationships, and then I love working with my peers and helping them, and just love the whole aspect.
Ms. Celise, is there anything else that you want to share with us about your fantastic Teacher of the Year?
Just that she's a truly special person and she deserves this honor, and we're happy to have her.
This was my final question, and I'll ask you to finish this phrase. I believe
that every student is unique and can be reached. You have to find a way to reach them. It may be socially or different things that they love, about their family or their past, or even getting through with their friends, or finding like something that they're passionate about to share to help them feel comfortable enough to talk to you and want to come to you, and then they open those doors to be able to learn a lot quicker.
Colleen Wilcox said that teaching is the greatest act of optimism. Thank you for being so optimistic and continuing to open those doors for those students that come into your room. Thank you for representing your wonderful school, Southport Middle School. Ms. Celise, thank you for joining us, and it is a pleasure for us to have this opportunity to introduce you to our viewers as the Teacher of the Year for Southport Middle. Congratulations.
Thank you. Very honored.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So you see, son, good manners are important. Should I go through it again?
Yes.
Yes, please.
Yes, please.
Exactly. Always say please, thank you, you're welcome, excuse me, sit up straight, hold doors open for ladies. If the door's locked, knock first. Don't burp, don't swear, don't stare, don't use bad language, or talk with your mouth full. Keep your elbows off the table.
What table?
And don't interrupt. Cover your mouth when you cough or sneeze. On the bus, give your seat up to anybody who has trouble standing. Bottom line, treat others the way you want to be treated. Got it?
Got it.
Good talk.
Most parenting is hard to do in just 2 minutes. But 2 minutes twice a day making sure they brush is easier, and it could help save them from a lifetime of tooth pain.
Joining us at this time from St. Lucie Elementary School is the dynamic Kalita Singleton, who is representing them as their Teacher of the Year. Ms. Singleton, welcome to our show.
Thank you.
She's brought along with her wonderful, dynamic, fantastic, marvelous principal, Miss Latricia Willard, who's joining us as well. Ms. Willard, thank you for coming.
Thank you for having us, Dr. Perry.
That's all right. Now, Ms. Singleton, we're going to jump right in. But first of all, just in case somebody does not know who you are, we want you to take an opportunity to introduce yourself to our viewers. Okay. Make sure that you please tell them what school you graduated from, what was your major, and what you're currently teaching.
Okay. I'm a product of St. Lucie County School System.
And we can start right there and celebrate that we have another Teacher of the Year that's a product of our school system. We have had so many of Teachers of the Year that come through this year that actually graduated from St. Lucie Public Schools, and we are all excited about that. But I did not mean to interrupt.
That's fine. I graduated from Fort Pierce Westwood High School in 1988.
You know, I've got to say it, once a Panther,
always a Panther. I went on and I graduated from Florida Atlantic University with a Bachelor's of Arts in Education, and my major is elementary education. Also, I'm the product of two former administrators from St. Lucie County.
And what are you currently teaching?
I'm currently teaching 3rd grade at St. Lucie Elementary School.
Great, great. Now, let's ask this question right up front. What's your favorite part of teaching?
My favorite part of teaching, I think, is when my students acquire new knowledge, when that light bulb goes off and they make those linkages and those connections, and it's cross-curricular, and it's a teachable moment. That's my favorite moment.
Okay. I'm going to ask this question too. Have you always known that you wanted to be a teacher? And if not, when did you make that discovery?
I did not always know that I wanted to be a teacher. My original major was communications, actually. But I made a discovery probably at about the age of 18. I decided to change my major because I was in between. I wasn't necessarily sure, but being the product of two educators, I wanted to emulate what I saw my parents doing. So I went back and forth between the communications because that was my first preference. And then, of course, my sister became my first student. And after teaching her and building her up, I said, wait a minute, if I can do that with her, imagine what I could do with small minds for a lifetime.
Now, you mentioned to us that you're the product of two fantastic educators.
Yes.
So I want to ask this question just to see what answer you're going to give me. Who inspired you to become a teacher?
I would have to say it began with my parents, and you inspired me.
Thank you.
My lovely principal has been an inspiration because we've known each other for a lifetime. I have family members that are educators, so I've had a plethora of individuals that have been in my life. Teachers that inspired me to reach for my goals, to achieve. So I've had a lot of inspiration throughout my life.
Ms. Willard, let me get you involved into our conversation.
Yes, sir.
Just in case someone that does not know who you are as well, please give us a little bit about your background and your rise to principalship.
Okay. I am a product of Indian River County. But
Close enough. We'll claim you too.
But two educators as well. I went to school for, actually science was my major, but then I started teaching in 1997 at Northport Middle School under Mr. Townsend. And then I became an assistant principal in 2006 at FK Swede under Debbie Snyder. And then eventually gained my principalship at Windmill Point in 2013, and now I am the principal at St. Lucie Elementary.
And I just want our viewers to know that we can claim you because your dad actually taught in St. Lucie
Yes,
Public
he did.
Schools. So.
And he was actually the one who wanted me to teach in St. Lucie County, so I'm appreciative of that.
And we thank him as well. When you visit Ms. Singleton's classroom, tell me, what is it that you see? What is it that you hear when you visit?
Miss Singleton is a natural. She is definitely a natural educator. And when you are in her classroom, you hear and see excitement from the students as well as from Miss Singleton. She is the person who inspires them to want to learn and to be involved in the learning process. Mrs. Singleton is a teacher leader for the district, and what she learns from those teacher leader cohort meetings, she brings back and she has her students actually learning the learning process. So when we talk about gathering, processing, storing, and retrieving information, her students are actually teaching that process during the school day and during their content. So Ms. Singleton definitely has them learning the learning process during reading, math, science, social studies, and they're excited about it. So she is definitely a dynamic instructor, and you see the excitement in learning.
Now, Ms. Singleton, we know that your students are very savvy when it comes to the use of technology.
Yes.
How do you purposefully plan to use technology for learning?
Well, what I do is I make sure that the technology that I decide to use is research-based and that it promotes a lively learning environment so the students, it enhances whatever lessons that I'm teaching. So I go through and I make sure that everything that I pick, and it's also differentiated for the needs of those students, for the entire classroom and individually per student.
You said something about it being interesting, so that leads me to talk about our framework for quality instruction, DQ5.
Yes.
It's all about engagement, which excites students. Also, I'll ask then, how do you plan engagement for instruction?
Well, what I do is I make sure that within my plans that the lessons are exciting for the students. I take it and we always add the real world piece because I have to share in collaboration when we're planning. So we make sure that we add that real world piece in there so that students are able to make that connection immediately. And it's something that pulls them into the lesson so they naturally want to know more.
Ms. Willard alluded to something, but so I'll follow up by asking you, is there something new and or exciting that you're working on this year?
Yes, we are now working on iReady, the use of that technology within our classrooms, and we're also working on preparing assessments ourselves. So it's a process. Also, we're working on Mastery Connect also.
So when you say working on assessments, is that will I be correct in saying that you and your colleagues are designing?
We're working on learning how to create our own
Okay.
assessments
Okay.
at St. Lucie Elementary School.
Now, to be the teacher of the year, Ms. Willett, that teacher has to be involved in just about everything that goes on campus. They actually help the school function. Can you share with us a little of the other activities that Ms. Singleton may be involved with?
Miss Singleton is definitely involved in a lot on our campus. She involves herself. We talk about discretionary effort, and discretionary effort means just giving a little bit more than what you're asked to give, and she does that. She goes above and beyond. She's a part of our PTO. She's a part of our MLK committee. She's a part of our literacy committee. She's also a part of our leadership team. She helps to make the tough decisions sometimes that teachers and the staff have to make. She's also one of our grade chairs. She's a collaborative facilitator. She is involved in just almost any and everything. If there's something that needs to be done, Miss Singleton is one of the first people that says, put me in, coach. I want to do it. Let me do it. And she does a great job at it. So we really appreciate her going the extra mile and using that discretionary effort to help our school become a great school.
Ms. Willett, please describe Ms. Singleton using 3 adjectives and tell us why you chose those 3.
Definitely, if I were to choose 3 adjectives to describe Ms. Singleton, the first would be passionate. She's definitely passionate about the profession of education. As she said before, being the product of 2 educators, you can see that passion come through in her classroom and just the work that she does each and every day. The second adjective that I would use to describe her would be enthusiastic. She's enthusiastic about the job that you ask her to do. She comes in every day with that enthusiasm. There's not one day that she's on campus that she's down. We feed off of her enthusiasm, and I think that that's what her colleagues, that's one of the reasons why her colleagues chose her as the Teacher of the Year for St. Lucie Elementary. And last but not least, the third adjective that I would choose would be dedicated. And if I can combine the last one, and also determined. She's
I'll let you sneak it in. I'll let you sneak it in, Ms. Willett.
She's dedicated to her job. There's nothing that she's not asked to do that dedication doesn't come through. And she does it with the determination to be the best and to do the best job. And that's one of the reasons why I really appreciate, and I know that the staff and the students of St. Lucie Elementary appreciate Ms. Singleton being a part of on our campus.
Ms. Singleton, basically from birth to 3rd grade, students learn to read, and from 3rd grade on, they read to learn. So in 3rd grade, how do you see you having an impact on that child's ability to be career and or college ready?
Well, the first thing that I tell my students when they enter my classroom is I'm preparing you for the rest of your life. I'm preparing you for college and for future success. So I want them to realize that that foundation, that preparation in the 3rd grade, that is that foundations. That's the basics of everything for them from 3rd grade on up through college, and they're going to need that for the rest of their lives. So they understand and they take ownership, and they know we set goals within that classroom. They understand that this is my goal, but I reach my goal and I could possibly exceed my goal.
Now, we know as the Teacher of the Year, you're often the spokesperson for everything that's good, what's right on our campuses.
Yes.
Anytime there may be a meeting, a community group may visit, parents may come to either to the school. What would you say to a parent or that child to help ensure that that child is successful?
The first thing I would say to a parent is simply involve yourself. If a child knows that that parent cares and they're involved in their education, those students are more apt to have a positive learning. They just feel like I want to excel. I want my parents to be proud of me. And the second that I would say to a parent is work with your child. When your child comes somewhere every day and they're working on their homework, take some time out, speak with them, read with them, make sure that they can comprehend exactly what they're doing, and have a conversation and say, what did you do for that day? What exactly did you learn today?
In this role also, you have to give advice often to new teachers. Or what advice would you offer to teachers?
The biggest piece of advice that I would offer a new teacher is don't be afraid to collaborate. And don't be afraid to reach out to teachers. Don't be afraid to share your ideas. Just because you're new, you still have valid ideas. But don't be afraid to take that chance and go over to your neighbor next door, or during your collaborative planning sessions, speak out with other teachers, ask questions, because you do want to understand what is best practice for my grade level specifically.
Oftentimes when person's parents are educators, they run from the profession. As you basically alluded to earlier, but you ended up running to the profession. Why are you a teacher?
I just love seeing students learn. It just amazes me. Once I teach a student that growth mindset, it's their success levels. They just don't stop. So I just really enjoy that. If I can get in my car every day and know that I've had an effect on every student in that classroom, that just does something to me. It puts the biggest smile on my face.
Miss Woolard,
yes, sir.
Knowing that you have dynamic teachers over your entire campus, what makes Miss Singleton at this time the perfect candidate for this honor?
Dr. Perry, just in conversation today, you can tell that Ms. Singleton has a caring concern for not only coming to school to make sure that the students in her classroom learn, but also the students in her entire grade level. That sets her apart from some of the other dynamic teachers that we have on campus. She doesn't teach in silo. She teaches to teach other teachers on campus how to affect their classroom. That sets her apart as the Teacher of the Year for St. Lucie Elementary, but not only just the care and concern for the students in her grade level, but also care and concern for other teachers on campus. She mentors other teachers on the collaborative planning process, what it means to teach to the standard and have standards-based instruction. She comes with a vast array of skills and a knowledge and skill set that does set her apart. She's not afraid of challenges. She cares about being impactful and making that impact on student learning and achievement. So out of all of the dynamic teachers that we have on St. Lucie Elementary's campus, Ms. Singleton sets herself apart because she goes above and beyond to make sure that everyone else has those same qualities that she has. She wants to make sure that she imparts that into them.
Ms. Singleton,
yes.
When will you know that you are a success?
I know that I'm a success when all of my students reach their levels of proficiency. And when my students understand what that actual standard entails, what each individual standard entails, and they can reciprocate with their other classmates and explain that standard.
Knowing what you know, being involved in everything that you have been involved in, watching your dynamic parents, and then the time that you have spent as an educator as well. Think about all of that for us and then answer this question. What do you know for sure?
I know for sure that I absolutely love my profession, and I wouldn't want to do anything else.
Ms. Woolard.
Yes, sir.
Is there anything else that you want to share with our viewers about your Dynamic Teacher of the Year?
Yes, there is. A year ago, I was asked to move from Windmill Point to St. Lucie Elementary. And that was, Windmill Point was the place that I actually reconnected with Ms. Singleton. And we had challenges there at Windmill Point, and we were asked to move the school from being in DA status to a C. And Ms. Singleton was a part of that increase, that growth. And it would have been comfortable for her to stay there at Windmill Point. But when I was asked to move to St. Lucie Elementary, Miss Singleton came to me and said, "Put me in, coach. I want to be there. And I want to be there with you so that we can make an impact at St. Lucie Elementary." And I said, "Come on, let's go." And she, just like that, I like to use sometimes analogies, and football is one of my favorite sports. Just like that player that, when facing in the fourth quarter, you're down and the coach designs the play to give their star player the ball. Miss Singleton is one of those star players that, as a coach, you wouldn't mind designing the play around them. And she just takes every challenge, and she's willing to accept that challenge and come in no matter how tough, how hard it may be. She's going to say, "Give me the ball, let me run." And I am so sure that she's going to make the touchdown. So I just wanted to add that she is definitely, when she says she loves this profession, she loves the profession, and she loves a challenge, and she's going to do whatever it takes to get the job done. So I know that we're going to be definitely a successful school because Miss Singleton is there with us.
So, Ms. Singleton, let's wrap up by having you finish this phrase. I believe
that all students are capable of success.
So, we wrap it up with you believing in success for all students. And I'll give you these words of Patricia Neal when she said, "A master can tell you what he expects of you. A teacher awakens your own expectations." Thank you for the wonderful job that you're doing, awakening the expectations of those fantastic students at St. Lucie Elementary School. Ms. Willett, thank you for joining us on this show, and congratulations on your selection as the Teacher of the Year for St. Lucie Elementary.
Thank you, Dr. Perry.
Right, mi cariño. So like I said, everything I learned about cooking, I learned from Grandma's empanadas. Shall we go again? Yep. Mix beef with the onions with the peppers with the paprika with the garlic with the oregano with the cumin. Got it? Got it. Throw in the olives, stir, season, stir again, pour out the flour, roll out the dough, make a circle, drop in a fistful of filling, fold over, press down, and ta-da!
Most parenting is hard to do in just 2 minutes. But 2 minutes twice a day making sure they brush is easier, and it could help save them from a lifetime of tooth pain.
At this time, joining us from St. Lucie West KA School is the fantastic Miss Riza Jewell, who's representing them as their Teacher of the Year. Welcome to our show.
Thank you.
Along with her is Mr. Eldrick Gardner, who is the wonderful principal there as well. Mr. Gardner, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
It is a pleasure to have this opportunity to introduce all of the persons that are representing their schools as the Teacher of the Year to our viewing audience. So, Ms. Jewell, at this time, I want you to just give us briefly a little bit about your educational background, what school you studied, and what you're currently teaching at St. Lucie West K8, and the grades that you're teaching as well.
Well, I started my education at Florida Atlantic University. That's where I started my teacher program. I have a master's in curriculum and instruction from Western New England University, and I'm currently enrolled in St. Thomas University, finishing up a master's in ed leadership. I started at St. Lucie West teaching 3rd grade. I did that for 3 years, and I'm doing 4th grade this year. And that's about it.
So what's your favorite part of teaching?
The kids, just interacting with them and being with them all day long, watching them grow. And this year I had the unique experience of not looping, but going from 3rd to 4th and seeing the difference in my students from last year's 3rd graders to this year's 4th graders, and seeing how much they change from one year to the next.
Mr. Gardner, just in case someone does not know you, would you also introduce yourself to our viewers?
Well, my name is Eldrick Gardner, and I am the principal at St. Lucie West K8 School, and have been in the district for the last 12 years. Starting off as a science teacher at the very school where I'm now principal, St. Lucie West K8, and full loop, and now I'm back.
Great, great. When you visit Ms. Jewell's classroom, what is it that you see and hear?
When we visit Mrs. Jewell's classroom, I find it to be a dynamic environment in which you can tell that she has mastered the art and science of teaching. She uses best methods for engaging students in activities that really truly shows their academic progress. And we are the better for having her on our campus.
Ms. Jewell, knowing that you have mastered the art and the science of teaching, have you always known that you wanted to be a teacher, or was it something that you kind of discovered a little later?
I always knew I wanted to be the teacher. I was that kid that would go to school on teacher work days and work with my teachers. And the moment that I knew that it was for me was, I remember it to this day, it was 9th grade. I was doing a peer tutoring program, and I was working one-on-one with a student. And just the look in that kid's eyes when he mastered the concept that we were working on, and it was right then and there. And even to this day, all these years later, I still remember the look on the child's face when he got the concept. And I've always wanted to be a teacher.
So think back and tell us, what teacher or teachers inspired you to be a teacher?
I was fortunate. I had a lot of teachers that took their time and went above and beyond and inspired me to be a teacher. I was fortunate to have more than one. Even now, all these years later, there's still 2 or 3 teachers from my junior high and high school that I still actively communicate with and still have a relationship with at this point.
We know that the students that you're currently teaching in 4th grade are very savvy when it comes to the use of technology. How do you purposefully plan technology for learning?
It's a constant thing. I'm always bringing in new concepts, new ideas. I stay on track and on top of what they're doing. So when they bring up ideas or they mention things, I need to know what they're doing, and I need to be on top of it and know. I just recently got funded some iPads to bring into the classroom and stuff like that. So I'm always looking for new ideas and new things that the kids can do and that I can work with them.
So when a teacher has multiple use of technology, multiple iPads that they can use to work for students to use for their learning, it leads me over to DQ5 for my quality framework, for our framework for quality instruction that deals with engagement. So how do you purposefully plan engagement for your teaching and for learning?
It's through relationship building with the students and showing them that I'm excited and I'm working on great things. And when I introduce concepts and ideas to them, I present it to them openly, and I show to them that I'm a student as well and that everything is new and exciting, and through my enthusiasm. If I present concepts to them with enthusiasm, then it rubs off on them, and they see that I'm excited, and I share with them my experience of what I'm doing in school and things like that. And I feel like we have a community in the classroom where everyone's excited because I show them that, we try different things. If I see a lesson's not working, I'm like, let's stop. Let's think about this. And I move around the classroom. One minute we're all sprawled out on the floor. The next minute we're all sitting in a different area. There's not one set routine. There's just whatever. We are very dynamic in the classroom, as Mr. Gardner said. I mean, one minute you might walk in and find one thing, and the next minute we're totally doing something different.
Else.
Yeah. I mean, they're little kids. They don't want to be sitting in a seat. They want to move around, and there's a high level of energy in my classroom at all times.
Is there something new and or exciting that you're working on this year?
Bringing in more technology, the iPads that we just got into the classroom, and letting the kids be more individual. Last year in 3rd grade, I had them more regulated. This year, it's giving them a little bit more of freedom and letting them talk to me more, giving me more. I'll ask them more open-ended questions and getting more out of them. So this time I'm giving them more rein.
Mr. Gardner, the Teacher of the Year is usually one of those persons that are heavily involved in the total operation of our schools. What other activities do you see Ms. Jewell involved in on your campus?
And as you just stated, the Teacher of the Year, Mrs. Jewell is a part of every facet of our school. She's not only a 4th grade teacher, but she is the 4th grade grade chair, in which she uses that platform to inform others about best practices and also use it as a platform for collaborative planning. She not only is the grade chair, but she's the NEST facilitator at our school, helping those new teachers who have recently come over to education to find their way, particularly through that most daunting first year. She's also our MLK committee chair, and she is getting ready and prepared for the Martin Luther King parade that will be held in just a few weeks. So those are just a few things, I think, the formal things she does, But if we even talk about informally, the things that she plays a role in, she has placed her hat into the ring to be a tutor and facilitate our before-after school tutoring program. So she finds ways to be an intricate part of our school. And we are glad to have her on board at St. Lucie West K-8.
So describe her for me using 3 adjectives and tell me why you chose those 3.
Well, if I had to use 3, one would have to be she is reflective. And to that extent, Marzano, in his art and science book, talks about the effective teachers are highly reflective. They reflect on the practices. And as you have heard, she talks about how she sees that her children have grown, the students have grown from last year's to this year, and she's given them a little more latitude in being able to express themselves individually. So first, she's reflective. Secondly, I would say that she is creative, in so much that she creates an environment, deliberately creates an environment in which students are engaged in the academics of the day. And thirdly, if I had to describe Mrs. Jewell, I would say that it would ultimately have to be she is a lover of students. And I think that is most important, that you love what you do, you love the students that you are interacting with every day, and the students in turn reciprocate that to you.
Ms. Jewell, in 4th grade, a young grade when you think about the total educational span for students, but how do you see yourself preparing your students to be career and or college ready?
Not a day goes by that I'm not challenging them, and like I mentioned before, I show them how I'm in college. I show them that, school and learning and education is a lifelong thing. It's not like you did it today, you're done. I show them that the tools that we're working with are tools that are not going to be something you're one and done. I'm preparing them for life. I'm showing them that everything we do in the classroom is a building block, that what I gave them today, they're going to keep using. And I show them examples, and I bring in different things to say, remember when this, or I go back to this and recall and think about it. And I show them how it's an ongoing thing. Today, as a matter of fact, we were talking about an article, and I said, well, do you realize that someone got paid to do this? Do you realize that this is a job? So just because you're reading this today doesn't mean, okay, you read it and it's done. This is something in the future. This is something that you could turn into a job. You read this article, but do you realize that this is a job that someone has turned into a career? And movies, everything that you do, I show them that it's not just the classroom. I show them that everything we do in the classroom carries over into the real world. And it doesn't just end there.
As the Teacher of the Year for St. Lucie West K-8 School, you will be often called upon to speak to parents, to students, to community members. What would you say specifically to a parent or a child to help ensure that child remains successful?
Positivity. I'm constantly talking to parents and students and everyone, just letting them know that it's a positive. It's not always easy. It's not just the first time you've done, don't get discouraged if you don't get it right the first time. Even with what I do, I'm always giving them examples of my life. My students, I'm very honest with them. I talk to them about different things, and I show them, so you didn't get it right the first time. Nobody does. Keep going. Don't get discouraged. And even through stuff that we pull out of our stories and stuff, I give them like little themes or little things that we keep going, little mantras in the classroom. Recently, we were talking about Mount Everest. I said, well, when you give up, when you stop trying, that's when you fail. Look at the people who made it to the top of the mountain. It's because they didn't give up. And I always try to give them little positive mantras and little things to keep them going.
Mr. Gardner shared that you coordinate the NEST program at that site, sharing and working with new teachers. What advice do you offer new teachers?
Just to take it one day at a time. When it seems overwhelming, when it seems like you can't go on, just take it one day at a time, and it always works itself out. And not to hesitate to find someone to ask a question or to talk to, or no one does it alone. We're all in this together, and find someone to talk to and don't hold it in.
Let's shift our focus just a little from talking about the work that you do each and every day to have you specifically talk about yourself. Why are you a teacher?
Well, I came into teaching later in life. I always knew that I wanted to do it, and it was actually during my husband's first military deployment that I realized, I saw his passion and him serving his country as he wanted to, that I said, he's deployed, I've got some free time on my hands, I'm going to go back and get my degree, and I'm going to do what I've been wanting to do all along. And it was through that and seeing him follow his dreams that I decided I'm going to go ahead and do mine. And that's what finally got me on track to follow my degree.
Mr. Gardner, so what makes Miss Jewell the perfect candidate for this honor?
What makes Miss Jewell a perfect candidate is that she embodies the very qualities that we expect effective teachers to embody. A passion for children, a passion for education, and not only that, but a will for them to succeed. And I do believe that those attributes are reciprocated back to her, that her students try their best each and every day to ensure their success as a means to reflect the great efforts that she's doing in her classroom.
Ms. Jewell, when will you know that you are a success?
Never, because I'm going to always look for more, want more, do more. I'm constantly at it.
Always it's a journey, not a destination.
Exactly.
Mr. Gardner, is there anything else that you may want to share with our viewers about your Teacher of the Year?
Well, as you just heard, when you ask her the very question, when will she determine she is successful? A reflective nature of her said never, and it is that she will always seek to be better, and we see that every day. And not only does she seek to be better, but she seeks to make those around her better. And I think that's all we need to know, that she makes St. Lucie West a great place to be.
Mrs. Jewell, knowing what I've heard Mr. Gardner say about you being reflective, and knowing that St. Lucie West K-8 is a better place because of you, and that we're all the better for it, knowing also that you're traveled because of military deployment, and about your decision to go back and do what it is that you really wanted to do. Think about all of that and then answer for me, what is it that you know for sure?
That I found a great place at St. Lucie West. Like, even now, my husband is on a military deployment, and the support and the family I've had at St. Lucie West is amazing. That I will continue my practice of teaching, and that I will be a lifelong teacher. And this is where I'm happy, watching the kids grow and my interactions with the kids. I mean, I have kids that come and see me every morning that were my students 3 years ago, and they'll come in just to say hi or to share a story or just to tell me something new that's going on in their lives. And being there for them is what makes me happy, and that's where I need to be. That's what I know for sure, that teaching is where I need to be and where I'm happy.
Let's wrap up with you finishing this phrase. I believe.
I believe that teaching and interacting with children is my true calling.
Wow. Thank you for answering the call. Let me leave you then with these words from Albert Switzer when he said, "Sometimes our light goes out, but is blown into flame by another human being. Each of us owes our deepest thanks to those who have rekindled the lights in us. And it's apparent that you rekindle that light each and every day that you go into the classroom with the great students at St. Lucie West K-8. Mr. Gardner, thank you for joining us. Ms. Jewell, congratulations on your selection as the Teacher of the Year for St. Lucie West K-8 School.
Thanks.
Why is my son having trouble in school?
Finding lowest airfare to Istanbul.
No, I'm tired of fighting with my son over his homework.
Home walk restaurant. Need a review?
No. He's smart, but his mind wanders.
7 wonders of the world.
Why don't you understand me?
I do. I was trying to show how Connor feels every day. Redirecting to understood.org.
Join parents and experts at understood.org, a free online resource about learning and attention issues to help your child thrive.
At this time, joining us from Treasure Coast High School is the fantastic Miss Lori.
You're rocking.
Rocking and rolling.
Thanks, Steve. He
Take
needs
two.
no help, remember?
Take two.
He needs no help. This is my 3rd day out of 4 days. They're going to put me out of the studio after tomorrow. Yeah. And not let me come back. We ready?
Not yet.
Okay.
Yes? You ready? Yes.
At this time, joining us from Treasure Coast High School is the wonderful Miss Lucie Appleby, who is representing that school as their Teacher of the Year. Congratulations.
Thank you.
She has along with her the dynamic Susan Seal, who's the wonderful principal at Treasure Coast High as well. Welcome, Miss Seal.
Thank you, sir.
Now, you know I've got to say it because I was along with Dr. Wow when the school first opened, Titan born, Titan bred. Yeah. Now, we're jumping right in, Miss Appleby, but because there might be just some people that may not know you, we want to give a little bit about your educational background, where you studied, what was your major, and what you're currently teaching at this time.
Okay. I went to the Florida State University.
The Florida State. Okay.
That's where I graduated from with my Bachelor's of Science in Nursing. And currently I am teaching 11th and 12th graders, and I do the Medical Academy, which is the career technical education. And I have the CNA program, emergency medical responders, and also I teach health science, anatomy, and physiology.
Having a BSN?
Yes.
And working with students at this time, what's your favorite part of teaching?
My favorite part is working with the students, and actually my love and passion, I was 20 years as a nurse, actually 30 if you count with my teaching, and my passion is really helping them to get their career that they want to go into. Seeing them excel and learn the skills is the greatest thing to see. So I'm very passionate because that's getting them to go into what they want to do in the future. And actually some of our students are now nurses, and since that is my passion was a nurse, and to help them do that is a great part of teaching.
Knowing that your passion was nursing and then you came to share all of that wonderful passion and knowledge with our students as a teacher, what inspired you or who inspired you to become a teacher?
Actually, I've had two inspirations, a lot more than that, but two I can remember. One happened to be one of my professors at the University of Florida, that's awful.
We won't tell anyone.
Okay, at Florida State. He was my organic chemistry professor, and he just showed me I was having difficulty in organic chemistry, and I started going to his office hours that he had and his study halls that he had. I ended up making an A in the class.
Wow.
So just to see his passion in teaching and going to those was one of my inspirations. The other one happens to be a teacher from here. Actually, she's retired now, but Sue Donaldson from Fairlawn. Seeing her when my kids went to school at Fairlawn and walking them when we did get to walk them to class, my middle child, actually, we'd have to go out of our way so he could go past Mrs. Donaldson every day just to see her smile and just to say, "Good morning, Mr. Appleby, how are you today?" And he loved that, and every day it was the same thing. We'd drop off one of my older son, and we'd have to go past Mrs. Donaldson. So she was an inspiration just to see every day I was there, and I volunteered at the school just to see how happy and just how the smile on her face every day, that was an inspiration to me also.
Ms. Seal, just in case someone doesn't know you that's viewing at this time, introduce yourself with a little bit about your background as well.
Sure. I'm Susan Seal. This is my first year at Treasure Coast High School. However, I was there the year that we opened as reading coach. And after that, I moved on to Fort Pierce Central, where I was there for 6 years as an assistant principal. Moved to St. Lucie West, K-8 as principal for 2 years, and now am back home, Titan-born, Titan-bred.
Titan-born, Titan-bred. When you visit this wonderful classroom with Miss Appleby, what is it that you see and hear?
Engaged students. That is the most exciting thing about visiting her classroom. One of the things that she set up for her students this year was having them actually create board games based on the knowledge that they had learned. For me, it's so exciting to see a teacher when you go into the classroom and you see that they truly understand Marzano and are able to implement both the science and the art of teaching. Going and seeing that was really great for me because that is now I'm losing my words, domain 4, where we're looking for the higher level where the students are actually creating in the content and then sharing that with others and having them evaluate it as well.
Ms. Appleby, Ms. Seal mentioned engaged students. When we talk about our St. Lucie Framework for Quality Instruction, DQ5 is all about engagement. With you having engaged students, that tells me that there's something purposeful going on to help students be engaged. I'm sure students are excited about the science that's behind the medical field. But what do you do to purposefully plan for engagement of your students?
I try to plan every lesson where I can figure I know my students really well and I know what makes them tick, and I try to plan accordingly. It's real easy with my nurse, especially my nursing assistant class, because it's a fast-moving pace and we're never doing one thing. We may be lecturing for 10 minutes and then we go over and do skills. And those skills alone totally engage them because they like the learning and making it fun. Even when I demonstrate to them, I'll make a mistake and they'll be like, Mrs. Appleby, that was wrong, and just correct it. So they just get engaged in just the learning and the skill part of it.
Your students are also very savvy when it comes to the use of technology. And in the program that you're working in, the nursing program, it naturally has those students engaged in some kinds of activities. But we have to also plan for and use technology. They finish their lecture and they go to their skills section, but how do you purposefully include technology in learning?
We're very fortunate this year. The district purchased a web-based curriculum for us based all on technology. So I use that to reinforce my lesson and then let them explore, learn a little bit more, and then I bring them back and we'll have a question period, a discussion period. The modules they use are wonderful because they can either listen to them or they actually can listen to them talking, and they really get engaged in that and the deeper learning, digging deeper into that.
What's new and or exciting that you and your students are working on this year?
New and exciting, my emergency medical responder students, we just got certification to have the testing at our school, so that's new and exciting. They're very excited about being able to sit for the industry certification test. With my CNAs, new and exciting was their passage rate on their CNA exam. I just had 31 students test for their CNA exam and 30 passed in December. So that was really exciting to see how excited they were about passing that exam.
Tell our viewing audience just a little about what having certification means for these students.
Certification opens up the doors for them. Coming out of high school, where at our school and a lot of the other high schools, they can walk out with at least 4 certifications. We have EKG certification, so they can go work at the hospital hooking up people for EKGs. We have, it's called Certified Medical Administrative Assistant. They can work at the front desk. My nursing assistants can work as nursing assistants, and then my emergency medical responders, they can be private ambulance drivers or work as security guards. So it really opens up the field for them to get their foot in the door, to, not that they have to stop as a nursing assistant, they can still go on to school and become a nurse or a doctor, but it gives them that chance to work in a field that they really love to do, not at minimum wage. And
because they carry a certification.
Because they carry a certification.
Right. Ms. Seal, oftentimes when we have a Teacher of the Year, that person is heavily involved in the total operation of our schools. So what other activities would we find Ms. Appleby joining and helping the school operate?
Pretty much anytime the doors are open, she is there.
I figured that as much.
Coming in this year, of course, you want to know who's there, who are the go-to people, and Lori Appleby's name came up again and again from other people, showing that it is an integral part of the school. She's very involved in faculty council. She is the leader of the CTE department. One of the things that she does that is in coordination with the school and an outside agency is the blood drives that she hosts during the school year, which is great because that gives back to the community, and that's something we're very proud of as well.
Easy question for you, Ms. Appleby. How do you see yourself preparing your students to be career and or college ready?
Well, by doing the CNA, it's real, not that it's easy, but it's a great way to get them with our industry certifications. It prepares them for college. Our classes are very rigorous. I actually had one student one year say that CNA that I was more demanding than one of his college classes, which I was shocked pleasantly, but it helps them and gets them into it. It's just easy to go right into it, and our classes are so rigorous, and that I think they can go right into college easily.
Having that background in the area, also carrying the certification, you naturally can go to career, to work, or continue to study college. It's very, very applicable there. As the Teacher of the Year, you often will be called upon to speak to community groups, to parents, to students, just a plethora of different people and or organizations. What would you purposefully say to a parent to help them ensure that their child remains successful?
I think the one thing is how important school is and attendance is to be there every day. To be successful, just being involved with them, seeing what they're doing at school, helping them if you can with homework, and just being involved with them with their education.
We also called on the Teacher of the Year to give advice to others often. What advice would you give to a new teacher?
A new teacher, hang in there. But actually, seek out people that can help you. Be confident in the knowledge that you have, even though you're a first-year teacher, and seek out those people that are mentors, can help you, give advice. I even seek out new teachers because they come out of school with new ideas and maybe something we haven't tried. So just to seek out help from other people. Don't be afraid to ask, and it's going to be okay.
Ms. Seal, we've had a lot of conversation already, a lot of questions in a short amount of time. But I want you to describe Ms. Appleby using 3 adjectives and tell us why you chose those 3.
First, she's very dedicated in everything that she does. She is dedicated to making sure that the students understand exactly what the expectations are for them when they enter the program. She's passionate. She is always looking at how to better the educational experience for the students and to make sure that they are well prepared. And she's very focused in what she does. It was exciting for me to watch the students as they were waiting to take their test, and I got to talk to them a little bit. And you know, being in the arts, there's that little adrenaline that comes in before a performance.
Yes, right.
Those kids had it. They were excited to take that test because they were so prepared for it. And for me as a principal, that was something that was so validating to see, because that was the results of what she does day to day in the classroom.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. So let's change our focus a little bit, and let me ask you this question, Ms. Appleby. Why are you a teacher?
Why am I a teacher? I think because it's something that comes natural to me. In nursing, and people think, why did you change nursing? We're a teacher in nursing. We're teaching different patients every day. I work labor and delivery. Every day somebody comes in new and helping them through it. It became natural for me, so it was just easy to go right into where I can combine both my love of nursing with my love of teaching.
Ms. Seal, what makes Ms. Appleby the perfect candidate for this Teacher of the Year honor?
A lot of times now in today's society, we hear concerns about what is happening with our youth and the fact that some of our youth seem not to have a direction. She is somebody who has been in the trenches, who have helped the students understand what the future can look like for them and to make that path very clear for them, because she's so passionate about that and because she's so connected to their life after school, whether it's going straight into a career or going to college. And that is her vision and focus for the students. And because of that, she would be an excellent Teacher of the Year for St. Lucie County.
Mrs. Appleby, when will you know that you are a success?
That's really hard to answer. I don't know when I'll know if I'm successful. I thought about that and I said, well, maybe when all my students pass the CNA program. But I think I'm successful right now in just doing a career that I love and working with students that I love and care about so much. But to be successful, I may not know until I meet my maker and then say, job well done.
Job well done. Job well done. So, knowing that, you may never know until the very end. Knowing that you've had an excellent career as a nurse, and now to share that kind of wealth of knowledge and information with your students, and knowing the educational side of instruction every day, what is it that you know for sure?
I know for sure I'm making a difference. I know for sure that every day I go in there ready to work 150%, and I am sure that I'm doing everything. I tell my students I can lay my head on my pillow every night and know that I have given it my all. Even before that we have to take the test, I said I have done everything I can to prepare you. So that's what I know.
Ms. Seal, is there anything else that you may want to share with our viewers about your fantastic Teacher of the Year?
Again, the fact that she not only is a great instructor in the classroom, she not only cares about the students, but she does look out for the entire school and society as a whole. because she's looking at how we can train our students so that they can go forward to, as you were saying, make a difference in the world.
Making a difference for society as a whole. So with that, Ms. Appleby, I will ask you to finish this phrase. I believe.
Mrs. Steele and I were talking about that today. I always think when I went to the EPI classes here at IRC, since I had my bachelor's, I did do that. When I had to write my philosophy of education, I always think of the Whitney Houston song, I believe the children are our future, teach them well and let them lead the way. Show them all the beauty they possess inside. So I believe that I'm helping and helping them get to their future and helping them to succeed.
Oh, helping them get to their future. That's totally awesome. Let me leave you with these words, Miss Appleby. These words come from Rita Pearson when she says, every child deserves a champion, an adult who will never give up on them, who understands the power of connection and insists that they become the best they can possibly be. Thank you for the work that you're doing each and every day, preparing those students to reach and meet their future. Ms. Steele, thank you for joining us on this show as we celebrate and congratulate those wonderful persons that have been selected as a Teacher of the Year, and congratulations on your selection.
Thank you so much.
And to all of our wonderful Teachers of the Year, we want to leave you with these words. You have chosen the most challenging and the most rewarding profession that there is or ever will be. Imagine the light in the eyes of a newly motivated student, the smile on the face when they seemingly gather an unfathomable concept and they finally grasp it. Thank you for being such wonderful teachers, exemplary role models, and caring people. Thank you for knowing your subjects and sharing your knowledge. Thank you for not being afraid to treat them like real people. Thank you for showing acceptance, approval, and appreciation. Every day you make a difference, and every day you do that something that truly matters. Every day you leave an undeniable mark on the future, and for that we say thank you and congratulations.